We need to do a much better job of planning for growth and economic development of our community. Smart growth sounds just like a slogan until you confront the issues that living and governing outside those principles bring. In Vision 2020, the leaders were taught that no matter how we might wish our community to be in 20 years, if we didn't plan and follow that plan, it just certainly wouldn't come to pass. It's pretty solid reasoning. But smart growth was the centerpiece of everything to Vision 2020, and we must correct that and bring it back. Innovation, consent of the governed, a rejection of entrenched partisan conflict, and outreach to those who've become alienated with an increasingly ugly political process. The last piece of reform that I'm thinking of is making necessary changes inside county government. When citizens are reading the news or watching TV and they're just shaking their heads, so are some of the best employees in county government. I've nearly 7 good years of work inside the surveyor's office and now as a deputy assessor. This includes winning performance bonuses every year that they've been available. The point is that I've gotten to listen to all the best employees and where their frustrations are and what they think it is that keeps them from doing the best possible job. I know exactly where the politicians are letting them down, and with them, the rest of the community. After 7 years, I know where the waste, inefficiency, and abuse is in county government, where the turf battles and other rivalries present logjams to progress. I know where the problems are, and I'm willing to talk about them. And not only am I willing to talk about them, I have a track record of being willing to do something about them. This isn't Mayberry, folks. We can't govern the way we did 40 years ago in a much more static economy. If we want to preserve our agricultural heritage, it's impossible to do without smart growth helping preserve family farmland. To recruit the post-industrial jobs base, the knowledge economy, we got to consider the effect of having someone travel from a faraway boardroom, get out of their car, and the first thing they realize is that the entire town smells like a can of cheap dog food. Which is to say, we have to do something about Staley's. They've been good corporate citizens for the most part, and so we need to approach them in a partnership manner. But we need to approach them in an effective manner. We need to clean up our era. I said earlier that leadership is not a spectator sport, and I'm here to speak for my kids and yours, to represent and recruit the voices of many community-minded people who don't live and breathe partisan politics. Everyone should have a voice in how we shape this community, without necessarily having to be 100% Democrat, 100% Republican, all the way. There's a lot of creative and to this community important people that I think should be welcomed in the process in a new way. Oh yeah, and I'm here to say that the Republican Party must face the imperatives of the needs for reform, or else the Democratic Party of Tony Rosworski, Sheila Clinker are in a position to earn the opportunity to displace Republican elected officials at the county level as completely as they have done in the city. It should be considered a favor that they're being so effective, because the better they are, the better we should be. And that way, the better off the whole community will be. Right now, we have a website under construction called, it's a little bit cute, but RobbieForGoodGovernment.com. We will be posting informational material that spreads out local issues and problems and proposals with a little more detail than they can perhaps afford on a day-to-day newspaper basis. We'll have an email address called donate@RobbieForGoodGovernment.com and other addresses for people to volunteer if they want to get involved. Reform is a long-term project, always set against the tide of money from the constituents of the status quo. We're running to win, but the cause of reform is bigger than this campaign or me as a candidate. And we can easily have a very successful campaign just if we can bring in more of our best and our brightest and make them realize that they can make a difference right here for our community. Many thought that the first-time candidate, John Dennis, didn't have a prayer of winning. Some called him naive. You know what they call him now? Mr. Mayor. You can make a difference. But let's get started. First, are there any questions? Our member of the press? No? Well, I guess that's all. I survived.